In this video, we're going to convert percentages into decimals. And as a quick reminder that anytime we have 100%, it's going to be equal to 1, and every percent is always per 100. The other thing to remember is as we go through this, when dividing, when dividing by 100, the answer should be smaller. And I know that's kind of a statement of the obvious, but what happens is when we start to divide by 100, the decimal point will move. And a lot of people just get in the habit of, oh, I moved the decimal 2 places. Well, in what direction? So we have to make sure that we move the decimal to the direction that it will be smaller. So look at this. Again, when we have any percentage that's over 100%, we know that it's going to be larger than 1. So 304% should not be 0 point something something. We should have at least 1, if not more than 1. So when we have 304%, we're going to divide by 100. It's always per 100. So if you have a calculator, you can just tap that out. 304 divided by 100, and you're going to get the decimal value. We can also take it and know that if we have a whole number, the decimal is understood here, and dividing by 100 moves the decimal place 2 spots. Moves it, divide by 10, divide by 100. So now the decimal is right there. And again, it made the number smaller. I went from another number of 304 to now 3.04. So that is the decimal equivalent, whether I'm moving the decimal or dividing by 100. So I can take 21. Again, I can just take 21 and move the decimal twice. So it's 0.21. Or it's 21 per 100. And again, dividing it on the calculator, you'll get the same thing. 64%, that's here. So in order to move it into a decimal, I move it to the smaller direction or make it smaller. So it's 0.64. But again, dividing by 100, I get the same answer. 5%. Don't just move it in front of the thing. I have to move it 2 spaces, because when we divide by 100, it moves the decimal 2 spaces. It had 1 extra gap, so I put a 0 in there, so it's 0.05. Or taking the percent per 100, dividing it on your calculator, you'll get the same thing. Now, 1/4%. So I have 0.25%. So we still, now this is a teeny tiny percent, so that better be a teeny tiny number. So taking that decimal, I can either go over 100, so that's 0.0025, or taking the percentage here, and when we divide by 100, we move the decimal twice, and we land at the same thing. 6.5%, so I take my number and I divide by 100, and again, moving to make it even smaller by 2 decimal places. It's always per 100. It's always 2 decimal places. So I have 0.065. Or taking that percent per 100, dividing on the calculator, you'll end up at the same space. Now, here's a quick note. On a problem like this, if it was left like this, I would not accept this, because right now I can't tell where the decimal was coming or going. So make sure you give yourself a nice, clean, pretty answer with 1 decimal in it. This here is just like my workspace. Same thing here when I have 113.8. This one is over 100%, so my decimal better be greater than 1. So moving it 2 times, because we're always moving it twice, I have 1.138. Don't forget all of your place values, all of your digits. Or again, dividing it by 100, I'll end up with the same thing. This is 24 3/4. Well, I could divide that out on my calculator and get 0.75, so this is 24.75%. I haven't converted into a decimal yet. I just made that fraction a little easier to deal with. So I can take it, and I can take the 24.75, again, move the decimal 2 spaces, and get 0.2475. Or I can put it over 100 and get the same answer.